do me a favor here. If you can hear my voice and see the big orange slide on your screen, go ahead and raise your hand so I know that it's at least somewhat working. All right, we got hands up. Looks like we're good. So one last thing before we get started as we go through today. If you have any questions, go ahead and send them in using the questions and answer or Q&A box in your Zoom interface there. I will see those questions and I will try to answer them as we go. If I need to skip over something, I will come back to that question and get it at the end. Do not raise your hand. Do not send it via chat. I will not see those. So send questions in again via Q&A as we go through today. Let's see here. I am recording. I should be broadcasting live. Let me see here. Yeah, I think we're good to go. So today we are talking about Nebula. It is our cloud-managed networking solution. So what it offers for you is centralized and unified control and visibility. You're managing everything through a single pane of glass. Zero-touch provisioning. Basically, for most networks, all you need to do is provide power and an internet connection with DHCP. And everything, and that's basically all you got to do for local configuration. We'll talk a little bit more about it here coming up here. This covers our wireless, our switches, and our security gateways. And Nebula, unlike Meraki, who's probably our biggest competition out there, the core cloud functionality is offered for free. So there are no mandatory subscriptions that you need to do cloud management. And with the free version of Nebula, we give you the ability to manage an unlimited number of devices, unlimited number of different customer accounts, and an unlimited number of sites under those customer accounts. We will talk later on in the presentation about our professional pack, which is an annual license, what that gets you versus the free version. So I'm going to show you here a quick little bunch of slides here. So basically everything on this chart is comparing what goes into setting up a regular network versus setting up a cloud network. Any of these little puzzle pieces that are gray are saving you time or saving you money, and in most cases both. So obviously you still need to purchase the network equipment you're going to deploy at your customer's location. Then you need to install the equipment. With Nebula, we dramatically simplify that for you. The amount of time you need to spend on the customer site is less. The level of skill needed by the person doing the installation is less, since there's no manual configuration that's going to be required on site in most cases. You don't need to worry about figuring out your monitoring equipment. The cloud itself will be your monitoring equipment. You don't need to worry about setting up remote access, whether that's port forwarding or setting up VPNs. Instead, what's going to happen there is the cloud itself will be your bridge to be able to monitor and remotely control those devices. And again, the cloud itself is acting as a monitoring platform. There's no cloud key or anything like that that needs to be purchased. Data, specifically your log data, is stored in the cloud automatically for you, although we do still support the ability to export logs via syslog server. We dramatically simplify how you apply changes to the devices. You simply go in, make the changes. We will smartly apply those changes across all devices. Hold on just a second, guys. I've got possibly a problem here. I'll be right back. Apologies, people. We'll be right back. We'll be back here in just a second. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We were also streaming live on Facebook, and it seems that we're having some technical difficulties with that they asked me to try to fix. So hopefully it's working now. If not, I don't think there's anything more we're going to be able to do. Anyway, back to our presentation here. Yes, no. There we go. I'm still having some issues now. Okay. So continuing forward. We got a quick question here on the log data. Is it encrypted? So the log isn't storing anything, the syslog isn't storing anything like passwords or CLI controls, no. So the log itself is on the cloud, and you aren't going to be able to get to it. If you decide you want to export it to a syslog server, it just follows the standard syslog protocols. Hope that answers those questions there. Moving forward. User and device management, that's something you're still going to be able to do the standard way. We do have a cloud database for using users for authentication, whether it's a guest portal or VPNs. You can use that, or you can do it the traditional way using Radius or Active Directory. Okay, a little bit more about Nebula itself. So as I've already brought up, setup is super simple. There is no need to actually remove the hardware from the box. Both the outside of the box and the hardware itself has a QR code. You simply use our mobile app to scan the QR code and assign it to your customer. And that's all you need to do. So you can have the equipment shipped to your office, scan it in, assign it to your customer, and then forward it on to the customer location. And that's basically all you need to do. From there, it's just plugging it in. Once you do plug it in and it has a network connection, it should be up and running in just a few minutes. It's going to automatically reach out to the cloud. It will check to see if there's any firmware updates that are required, and will apply them. And then it will check and see if it's been assigned to a customer. If it has, it will then see which site it's been assigned to and automatically download and apply the configuration as needed. There's no additional hardware or software that's required. There's no virtual machines, no cloud keys, anything like that. It's basically, it will reach out to the cloud by itself, and then you can access it using a standard web browser. So anywhere you've got web browser access or a mobile phone with our app, you've got the ability to check in and see what's going on all your customer sites. So we do also offer a mobile app. Now the mobile app is not designed for management, it's designed to help installers. So it's what you use to scan those QR codes in to assign them to your customer. You can also use that when doing your installation to photograph where the hardware is, and that can be stored in the cloud. So if someone has to go on site down the road and you're looking to do service on a specific access point or switch, you can just check in the app and get a photo ID of where that device is, so you're sure you're working on the hardware you're intending to work on. It does give you the ability in the mobile app to change some common wireless features, and we are looking at adding more configuration to the app. But it's going to be a slow process. It's just that, you know, the smaller screen of a phone just doesn't lend itself to full management capabilities. And also you can use the mobile device to get a quick snapshot of what's going on your different customer sites, and if you're using Propak, to get push alerts when devices go offline and things like that. So guest access is easy to do. We've got a built-in captive portal. The captive portal is built in on both the gateway and the access point. So if you're just looking to provide wireless guest access, you just need the Nebula access points. You don't need anything else Nebula to be able to provide that service. So it gives you a lot of different ways to do user authentication, terms of service, username and passwords, having users register their own unique username and password to be able to log in, Facebook login, Facebook Wi-Fi. So a lot of flexibility there. The landing page is completely customizable. We've got sort of a, what you see is what you get basic editor in there to change some default stuff, but if you want to go hog wild on changing how that looks, you can download the HTML and CSS files, modify them to your heart's content, and then re-upload them back to the cloud. You can also always point to your own external server that you want to host that captive portal page. Keith here, he's got a question. Good question here. So Keith is asking, is there a possible option for sending the QR code for adding to the portal when having the item drop shipped, eliminating a step? So obviously it's not going to work if you're buying through distribution and they're shipping from distribution. I don't think we're drop shipping enough from ourselves to make it ability something that we would do internally to provide to you. You know, in the perfect scenario, we shouldn't be drop shipping anything, but I realize that's not always the case. Unfortunately, our distribution partners aren't always stocking as many of each device as we would like. If you want that, I believe you can request it from your salesperson. So if you're talking to Jacob or Sandy or Ivan and you're doing a drop ship, put that request in. I think we can accommodate that. We won't be sending you the QR codes, but I think we can send you the serial number and MAC address in an Excel spreadsheet that can then be uploaded into Nebula directly. So that I believe we can offer that for you, but talk to your salesperson and they can confirm that. Moving on. So when it comes to wireless, we've got a lot of different flexible options for you. We offer smart meshing capability, so only a few access points need a hardwired connection. All the others will automatically search for a hardwired node and will connect to it and create a mesh to provide your Wi-Fi coverage. We offer full WPA2 enterprise security, so that's where you're using a username and password for each one of your wireless users. So you don't have to worry about everybody sharing a single password and then having, every time you fire an employee, having to change that password so your ex-employee doesn't get back onto the network and access things that they shouldn't. We offer a number of different ways of doing smart roaming and load balancing, including support for 802.1R, K and V, as well as some of our own proprietary ways of doing that for legacy devices that don't support the industry standards. So we'll talk a little bit here about switches. So our switches have what we call smart PoE or intelligent PoE. So instead of using the standard 802.3 AF specifications for how much power to allocate per device, we have a smart mode where we monitor the power draw for each individual PoE device and can adjust the budget based on what we're seeing as being the actual usage. It allows you in a lot of cases to put on nearly double the number of devices onto your PoE switch with the same power budget versus a device that doesn't do that. We have the ability to go in there and configure individual ports and configure them at a group basis regardless of which switch they're plugged into. So you can quickly change VLAN, ACL settings and things like that across multiple ports. And everything is virtually stacked. So everything is done over the air. It includes configuration changes and firmware updates. And with firmware updates, we can schedule those. So you can plan for certain days of the week, certain times, and you can set up different schedules based on the type of device. So you can have your switches updating on a different schedule than, say, your access points. Setting up VPNs is done very easily. You simply go in there, choose the devices you want to VPN together, or the locations you want to VPN together, choose the structure of that VPN, whether it's hub and spoke or a star model, and hit apply, and basically we do everything else for you. So again, Nebula has been designed from the ground up for MSPs, or for those of you out there that have multiple customers that you want to keep an eye on. So all of your client accounts are viewable through that same web interface, and we make it really easy to jump to individual clients and get an idea of what's going on there. And we'll go through that here in a little bit more detail. So this is what you see when you log in. You get a breakdown there of all of your customers. We call them organizations. And we get that little snapshot there which shows you how many sites they have, whether they're using the paid or free version of Nebula, how many devices are on or offline at each of those locations. We also have the ability for you to create multiple admin accounts for each of your staff and give you granular control over what they have access to. So you can give them access to only certain customers, only certain sites at certain customers, and we can control what level of control they have. So one person may have full admin access, another person may only have installer access, where all they can do is add or remove devices to the customer network. You can give the customer themselves a view-only access, so they can log in and see what's going on in their network but can't change anything. So a lot of flexibility there. Once you choose your customer, there we go. We give you a breakdown here of how many sites they have and what's going on in each of those sites. And you can have those sites visually appear on a Google map to give you a quick visual representation of their physical location. And then once you drill down to an individual site, we take you to this dashboard view here. There's two different versions of this dashboard. There's this one, which is our main one, which is for someone who's deploying a full Nebula solution. So it shows you how many devices are online, how many wireless users are there, your PoE usage versus your budget. And with our gateway, we can break down traffic on the network based on individual applications that's generating that traffic. So you'll know whether that's BitTorrent or YouTube or Netflix eating up all your bandwidth, and breaking down which clients are using that bandwidth. But a lot of people out there are only using Nebula to manage their wireless access points, right? That's the biggest pain point on a lot of networks is you've got 15 or 20 access points, and you've got to change SSIDs or change passwords on a regular basis. So a lot of people are just doing that. So we do have a different version of this dashboard that is optimized just for wireless networks. And just to reiterate here, Nebula is free. It's not like Meraki where you have to buy a license every year or you get locked out of your equipment. So again, Nebula is designed, we've got a couple different lines of dedicated cloud-only devices. That's our NSG security gateways, our NSW switches, and our NAP series access points. We also have a full range of what we call Nebula Flex devices. So these are devices that can be used either with the Nebula Cloud or can be used in the traditional standalone way of doing your management. And on the AP side of things, we have both Nebula Flex and Nebula Flex Pro. So the main difference is the Pro comes bundled with some of our Propak, generally 1 year of Propak, whereas the standard Nebula Flex devices don't have any Propak included automatically. Also, most of the Pro devices, in addition to being used standalone or through the cloud, can also work with our wireless LAN controllers, whether it's the standalone wireless LAN controller or the integrated wireless LAN controller that's on our USG series products. And just switching back and forth between modes is really simple. If you want to manage the device in the cloud, you simply log into Nebula, add the device to your Nebula Cloud, and assign it to your customer. It should automatically reboot into Nebula mode after a few minutes. And then if you ever decide you don't want to use it with Nebula anymore, basically you reverse the process. Simply remove the device out of your Nebula Cloud, and it'll automatically reboot back into standalone mode. A key thing here for you is going to be the configurations are different because the feature sets are different. So when you switch from one mode to the other, you will need to reconfigure the device. We have a question here from Kevin that probably was sent in a few minutes ago. Let's see what it says here. Is there a tool for scheduling so you don't end up changing, say, port configs on a core switch prior to an edge switch, or is this a manual process? Okay, so that wouldn't be scheduling. So in Nebula, when we talk about scheduling, it's for pushing out firmware updates. What you're talking about here is something that is covered. We have a, what do you call it, misconfiguration protection or smart application of when you apply the rules. So you'll make your changes, and we will check and smartly apply them in the proper order. So specifically, so that situation you don't, you described there, you don't actually have happen where you change the, say, the VLANs in the wrong order, and suddenly you lose access to half your equipment that's out in the field. So we will apply them in the proper order to make sure that doesn't happen. Or if you're configuring something on just one device, and we realize that it's going to take that device offline, take another device downstream offline, we will not apply those changes, and I believe there's a little pop-up message that warns you that that's going on. So yeah, we do offer that automatically there to make sure devices don't go offline when you make a configuration change. It's not 100% foolproof, but it handles most of the major problems people run into. So now we'll talk about some of the add-ons for Nebula. So like I said, Nebula itself is free. So for service providers out there, we also offer a professional pack. So it adds a number of features into Nebula that aren't there in the free version. So it allows you to get status updates, either sent via email or through push alerts, letting you know, say, for instance, when a device has been offline for 5 minutes. To give you a little more proactive response rather than waiting for the customer to call you and tell you there's a networking issue. The free version of Nebula includes a week's worth of logs stored in the cloud. The Propak gives you a full year's worth of logs. We also give you an audit trail. So we track every configuration change, when that configuration change took place, and which admin account made that configuration change, and again, store that for a year. So if you see something was changed or seems odd, you can figure out who did it and when, so you can reach out to them. We give you customizable reports, all different types of reports that you can use to see what's going on your network. You can have those automatically emailed to you on your own schedule or emailed to your customer with your logo added to the report on a regular basis, so you can provide proactive reporting to your customers. Those are the main things. There's some other cool stuff that we do in there. I'm not going to go through all of it, but we do have a couple dedicated slides and some of the other stuff that Propak gives you. So we give you a lot more control on your switch for when it comes to bandwidth management and in the gateway. If you're doing IPTV via set-top box, for instance at a hotel or a MXU deployment, we have a dedicated report in Nebula that's designed to monitor that IPTV traffic, so we give you more control over IGMP settings, and we have this report which tells you which channels people are watching, who's watching what, and more importantly, we can detect a lot of the common problems such as drop frames on your IPTV network and give you suggestions for which settings need to be changed to help solve those issues. We have a new wireless health report. It's currently only available on 3 models of access point, but all the new APs going forward here will have this functionality. So it basically monitors what's going on a client and AP basis and tells you which APs are have clients on them that are having issues with their connectivity. We do that by monitoring packet rebroadcasts. So if we see somebody is having to send the same packet over and over again, we track that and generate some visual reports to let you know what's going on. And also Propak gives you the ability here to clone settings, to create templates, and things like that, backup and restore, to make it easier for you if you're managing multiple customers and multiple sites. You know, in most cases, the majority of your network config is probably the same from customer to customer, or at least from site to site under that customer. So you can clone and just need to change the few things that are different. We can also set up templates. So a master set of config changes, and then we can apply those just to specific sites that need those changes applied to them, rather than having to change it on a site-by-site basis. And we've added what's called Facebook Wi-Fi. So the free version of Nebula has something called Facebook Login, where guests can log in using their Facebook credentials. Facebook Wi-Fi is a different program that Facebook offers that gives you the ability to sort of force the user to have to like and share or check in to get access to the guest network. So that's something that's in Propak. So those are the main differences with what Propak gives you. The Propak license can be bought annually, or you can buy a perpetual license. If you buy a perpetual license, it is locked to the customer site, or excuse me, the customer org. It is not locked to the individual piece of hardware. So if you buy 10 lifetime or perpetual licenses, and you decide you want to swap out their 11AC equipment for 11AX equipment 2 years from now, you don't have to rebuy the licenses. You simply remove the old devices from that customer's organization, and you add in the new devices. Okay, and again, and then if you're doing the annual license and your customer decides they don't want to renew it when the annual renewal is there, it's fine. You lose that added bonus functionality, but you don't lose any of the other features as part of the free version, so it'll just fall back to the free version for you. Okay, on to the security pack. So the security pack is the additional license for the UTM features that are offered by our security gateways. So it gets you antivirus, content filtering, application-based intelligence, and firewall rules, IDP, and some of our analytical tools for analyzing that data. So we give you the ability to create rules based on individual applications and give you reports showing what's going on the network for those individual applications and sub-features of those applications. We give you reports showing you what's going on as far as network utilization goes, and some visual reports to show you what's going on when it comes to antivirus reporting. So again, that's the Nebula Security Pack. It only applies to the security gateways, and all of our NSG security gateways include 1 year of this functionality out of the box when you buy them. So again, we've got the free version of Nebula, which is perfectly good for a lot of you out there. We've got the professional pack, which gives you some of these added bonus features, which are really nice if you're providing MSP services or you're just trying to keep a handle on a lot of different customers. And then we've got the security pack license, which adds those UTM features to the firewall gateways. So just to show here, when it comes to security gateways, these are the different models that we have. The primary difference between the different models is going to be how many sessions they support and how much throughput they give you. So that's what you're going to be looking at when you're trying to decide which security gateway to go for a specific customer. We've got our switches here, so we've got our dedicated NSW switches, which only work in the cloud, and then we've got a whole series of 1920 V2 and 1930 series switches that can be used either standalone or managed through Nebula. And then we've got our access points, which is where it gets kind of confusing because there's a lot of different access points out there with similar features. Reach out to your sales guys. We can give you a little cheat sheet similar to what you see there that you can use as reference to help make this easier. But this is just showing you here which devices are Nebula dedicated, which devices are Nebula Flex, which devices are Nebula Pro, standalone versus controller, which support Smart Mesh, which support that Wi-Fi health report. I'm not going to go through it all. So again, if you want to see that, just reach out to your salesperson here and we can provide you a cheat sheet that you can print out. So that's pretty much it for today's presentation and overview of Nebula. If you like what you see here, we've got a couple different ways you can try it out. We've got sort of a basic Nebula demo that's available for free. Just go to nebula.zyxel.com. You can log in and poke around and see what's going on. We've got a couple different hotel sites set up with at least one switch and one AP at each. And then if you want more, we can send you out a 60-day demo kit. 2 rules for that is you have to be a reseller and you have to have joined our partner program. Provided you've checked those 2 boxes off, just reach out to your salesperson. They can arrange sending you out a demo kit. And that is it. So I'll open it up to the floor for any questions that you guys may have. You can send them in again using the Q&A interface. Any feedback on today's webinar, any additional questions, any suggestions for other types of webinars you'd like to see us put together for you, whether they're product-based or solution-based, or just sort of a deep dive, how do I do this, how do I do that? Email us and let us know so we can try to put those together. We need your feedback on what is interesting or valuable to you and your employees. So my email is up there on the screen. As far as Q&A goes, we've got one question in. What is in the demo kit? It's coming from Kevin. So the demo kit depends on what you're doing. So you'll reach out to your sales guy, let him know a little bit about you and what it is you would like to play with Nebula, and then we can send something out. Whether it's a single access point or an access point and a switch or a full Nebula solution, gateway access point and switch, all of those are options that they can hook you up with for 60 days. And then at the end of 60 days, you either send it all back to us or you decide to keep it and pay for it. I think we charge you an NFR price, so it's a discounted price, and then you can keep it in your lab there for you to play with or deploy it out at a customer location. I will stick around in case anyone else has any questions. If not, again, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you guys coming out and tuning in and listening. I hope you found this valuable. If you did not, email me and provide me your feedback. Or if you don't want to email me directly, you're worried I'm going to get defensive, just reach out to your salesperson, Jacob, Ivan, or Sandy, or in some cases, rare cases, Jeff, and let us know. Also, if you are not already a partner with Zyxel through our reseller program, think about joining up. It gets you discounts loaded automatically through distribution, whether it's Target or Cinex or D&H or Ingram. Doesn't matter who you're using as your distributor there. By joining our partner program, you will get additional discounts automatically applied, no paperwork required through distribution, so help pad your margins there for you. It also opens you up for access to priority access to our tech support team, after hours access to our tech support team, and other things like that. So if you're not a partner now and you are a reseller, please join that partner program. And I am not seeing any more questions coming in. So if you are in the process of typing something up, go ahead and quickly highlight it and copy it, and then just email it to me directly. Because I am going to go ahead and end today's webinar. And once again, thanks for joining us today, everybody.